Hi, today we're going to be looking at the movie Teen Titans Trouble in Tokyo. Why, you may ask? Well, because I feel like it. And just like the Transformers video, this was a movie based off a TV show. A show with 5 seasons. And just like Transformers and some of the Ninja Turtle movies I looked at, I'm not going to get too much into who the characters are just for the fact that, well, yeah, this is a movie based off a show. If you're watching this video, then you probably watched the show already. If not, I apologize to everybody who wanted a bit more explanation. That said, let's get into the video. The movie begins with a blue and pink man running around blowing stuff up, and thankfully it doesn't take too long for the Titans to come in and fight him. The fight doesn't really go too well, seeing as how he goes to their house and blows it up. Okay, not entirely, like, there is still a foundation, but he left some noticeable damage. But thankfully Robin was able to capture him. They then go on to interrogate him, learning that he only speaks Japanese, but thankfully through a translator, they are able to figure out that he comes from Tokyo. And when Robin asks who hired him, he says this.
Who sent you to attack our tower?
Shogun.
After that, he breaks a sprinkler and then mysteriously vanishes. The Titans try to go and find him, but end up coming short, and Beast Boy ends up making a really dumb idea as to what happened.
Maybe he just wasn't waterproof.
Later on, his assumption ends up proving to be true, but we'll learn why later in the movie. And with all that, the Titans decide to head off to Tokyo, leading to the opening title sequence. It's mostly a fun montage of them packing for their trip and getting lost on the way there. They do eventually reach Tokyo, and the first thing Beast Boy wants to do once they get there is visit a manga factory. Okay, you know what? I don't blame Beast Boy. Manga is awesome, and anybody watching my show ever read Eden Zero? Robin obviously tells him no, seeing as how they're here on business and not for pleasure. We also end up seeing some ominous figure in shadow watching over the Titans as they arrive. He also turns on a printing press for reasons we have yet to discover. We then cut back to the Titans who are in the city trying to get to Shinjuku. However, the only problem is they can't read the signs, so they're pretty much lost. And Beast Boy gets the bright idea to just ask for directions from one of the locals. It goes about as well as you'd expect.
Okay,
thanks. I have no idea what he said.
Which leads to Starfire kissing one of the inhabitants because one of her alien powers makes it so she learns the language of any species through lip contact. Almost immediately after this, they get attacked by a Godzilla ripoff because why not, they're in Japan. And I'll give the animators this, they went out of their way to make it look like the guy in a costume. That's a nice attention to detail. And when the Titans go to fight it, they don't fare too well. And after that happens, the police come in and take care of it, no problem. Which leads to the chief of police introducing himself to the Titans and even going as far as to take him to their base, just to show that they have everything under control and that there's no need for them. Robin does go to ask about Brushogun, but the chief just says he doesn't exist, which makes Robin question why he even came here if he's not even real. The Titans start questioning why they came to Japan feeling like they just wasted their time, which leads to Beast Boy coming up with the bright idea to go to the manga factory again. However, this time it's closed, so they can't really go in. Robin decides he's had enough of this place and tries to go home, but Cyborg tells him that, well, they made the trip to Japan, so why not stay and enjoy the place? All the Titans seem to agree and all decide to head off and enjoy themselves. And while this is happening, the man in shadow is still watching them and activates the printing press again. And when he does, we see several colors come out of it. Blue, pink, and yellow. Even though one of the buttons is clearly red. I'll get into this later. We then go on to see some of the Titans just wandering around enjoying themselves. Except for Beast Boy, who is sulking by reading a manga outside the factory he wants to visit. And then a girl goes up to him and says this.
Otaku?
Beast Boy interprets this as the girl calling him cute, and as a kid I had no idea what she meant, but I do now as an adult, and I kinda hate that I do. We then see Robin and Starfire sitting on a rooftop, kind of flirting with each other, But then Robin's instincts of a hero come in, saying that they're heroes first and anything else comes second. And given how he was raised by Batman, it's not too surprising he would feel this way. Which leads to Starfire flying off sad. We then cut to Raven, who's wandering around an old part of the city and going into a mysterious building, which even she questions if it's a good idea. Which then cuts to Cyborg at an all-you-can-eat restaurant, with the chef getting mad at him, saying he'll eat him out of business. Which then cuts back to Beast Boy following the girl he saw earlier into a karaoke bar, where he then goes on to sing an English translation of the theme song to the show. Let me explain this, it's kind of funny. Okay, so if you've watched this show, you'd remember it had a really catchy theme song that was, believe it or not, sung by a Japanese pop group. And if you also remember, they also played it in Japanese in a few episodes. And the fun fact about that is, if you actually translate the Japanese lyrics into English, it would not be the same as the normal one. The lyrics are entirely different. And the version Beast Boy sings is the Japanese version with the lyrics translated to English. And another fun fact, at the end of the movie, all the actors sing the theme song that way, in character. It's actually funny. Yeah, I love giving fun trivia. Anyways, let's get back to the movie. Anyways, after Beast Boy does an awesome job singing the song, we then cut back to Robin, who's looking at the only clue he got from the beginning of the movie. By the way, the guy they fought at the beginning, his name was Psychotech. And right as he's examining it, he gets some weird substance on his hands, and then gets attacked by a pink version of him out of nowhere. The fight is actually pretty cool, and it ends with Robin brutally beating him to death in front of everyone. Which, of course, leads to Robin getting thrown in jail. Robin does try to plead that the person he was fighting wasn't human, but then the chief points out that neither are most of his friends, so things aren't looking too good for Robin right now. We then cut to Raven at a library trying to look for information on Brushogun. At first she finds nothing, but then an old man gives her a book that might give her the answer she was looking for. Which then goes to Cyborg and Beast Boy being attacked or chased by angry chefs and fangirls, while also being followed by two mysterious figures in the shadow. Which then shows Starfire learning that Robin was arrested and now all the Titans are wanted. Which quickly leads to all the Titans being attacked by non-copyrighted manga characters. Not gonna lie, the fact they use ripoffs for this is kind of hilarious. During Robin's transport to jail, a letter flies in with the name Brushogun written on it, which then transforms into a bomb which sets him free. With Robin now on the run, he decides to take the clothes of a mugger and do some investigating of his own to hopefully get some answers. Which leads to him going into a shady looking bar. He ends up beating up everyone there and leaves the bartender conscious just because he speaks English and can hopefully give him some answers. When he questions him, he finds out the police make it so you can't even talk about Brushogun. When he tries to get more intel out of him, the police come in, leading to Robin having to flee. He ends up being cornered, but thankfully Starfire comes in to rescue him. While in hiding, Starfire gives Robin his costume back, and they end up having a nice moment where they almost kiss. Until everyone else comes in to ruin the moment. But thankfully he is able to get some intel, realizing that the person he supposedly killed wasn't really a person. And in fact, he was made of ink, which practically proved Beast Boy's theory earlier in the movie about him not being waterproof to be true. And it is around here where we learn who Brushogun is. At first, he was just an artist who really loved his creations, literally to the point where he uses black magic to bring him to life. At first it works, but of course, whenever anyone uses black magic, it goes horribly wrong, turning him into a hideous monster where whatever he paints comes to life. And with this, it confirms that everyone that they've been fighting wasn't real. And with this newfound confidence, Robin suits back up and tells the Titans they're off to go find Brushogun. But before that, we get a really comical chase sequence where they're running from the police, the chefs, the fangirls, and even the characters they've been fighting. Not gonna lie, despite how fun this chase sequence is, it's kind of hard to tell where they were going with this, seeing as how it has hand-drawn animation, different caricature art styles, and even for some reason, real pictures of Tokyo mixed in. Not gonna lie, it's confusing, but like I said, it's still fun to watch. After some investigating, they discover that all the monsters have been coming from the manga factory that Beast Boy's been wanting to go to. When they first get inside, they discover it to be mostly empty, until they find a really old man strapped to a printing press. And it turns out this old man is Brushogun. However, he's actually a prisoner here, and the reason that version of Psychotech attacked earlier in the movie was because he was trying to call for help. And when the Titans ask about who was the one actually behind all this, it turns out it was actually the police chief who caused all this. And the reason being is that since he caught one criminal that can make other criminals, he can just use that power over and over again just to become famous quick and easy. And then he ends up sending his troopers to attack the Titans, who they quickly discover aren't even real, so they don't have any reason to hold back when fighting them. Which then leads to Brushogun being forced to create more monsters for the Titans to fight. Robin then goes off to face the Commissioner one-on-one. He ends up winning, which leads to him jumping into the printing press, turning him and Brushogun into a giant ink monster. During the fight, Robin goes up to Brushogun inside the ink monster, trying to figure out how to stop him. The answer is really simple, you just gotta remove him. During his first attempt, he gets sucked in, but then almost immediately later he jumps right out, defeating him and setting Brushogun free of his curse. Which leads to the giant ink monster blowing up. And with this, the Titans are now seen as heroes of Tokyo, and they all end up getting something nice in return. Which also leads to Raven being a mascot for gum. Trust me, it was part of an earlier scene in the movie, which didn't really go anywhere until this ending. And after getting medals for their services, Robin decides, you know what, they all deserve a vacation. And with that, the movie comes to an end. And there's my video on Teen Titans Trouble in Tokyo. And if you're a fan of the show, I think you'll like the movie. If not, I think you'll be really confused because for newcomers, this film does not explain too much. I feel like you have to have watched the show at least. And there's one thing about the movie I want to talk about that always perplexed me. That being the colors that Brushogun uses. Those being blue, yellow, and pink. I would say black, but people debate black isn't a color, it's just all color removed. Anyways, I find it weird because if you know the three primary colors, it's red, blue, and yellow, not pink. And I think I know why, or at least I feel like the movie was censored because of this, because if you remember the scene where Robin beats up Psychotech to the point where he bleeds to death, yeah, it looks like his hands are covered in blood. And there are literally 2 lines in the movie that just flat out say they thought it was blood. Like right here.
In this, it isn't blood.
That wasn't blood on your uniform. It was ink.
And if you look at the printing press machine Brushogun loses, it's clear it was red on there and not pink, which proves my point. It might have been censored. And it kind of makes me wish that an uncensored version would get released. Despite that, if you want to own the movie, there are multiple ways to do it. For one, here's the DVD I have, which actually comes with 2 cool bonus features. One being a DVD game, remember those? And second, Teen Titans The Lost Episode. It's not really an episode, it was mostly something that was part of a serial promotion, and it was only 11 minutes. And in recent years, they did release the movie on Blu-ray, with the Lost Episode bonus feature still intact, thank God. And as part of the Teen Titans Complete Series DVD, which also got released on Blu-ray. And with that said, I thank you for watching, and I hope to make more videos soon.